Hi everybody, this is Marcy Sheets, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the stock market project that we have that's due at the end of the school year. This first page here just shows you the introduction page, and oddly enough it shows you a bull and a bear. And so I want to start off by asking you guys if you know why a bull and a bear is used on this, first intro page for this project. If you can come up with the answer for that, please put it in the comments section on the YouTube channel here, so that I can verify, who watched the video and who knows the answer to that question. So, you can feel free to look it up if you want, but if you know it off the top of your head, good for you. I want to dive in and give you guys some details about this project and the requirements for it, how to do it, where to get your answers, some mistakes to avoid, what's due next, what's due first, I guess, and then what's due at the end of the school year, and then kind of what to do through this project that will make your essay questions easier to write and your final project presentation easier to prepare. So to pay attention to a couple different things and take notes if you need to on the document that you've been given, that will help you make sure that you don't forget, any of these little details that might come up. However, if you follow everything that's on here, it's all laid out for you already. So just circle and highlight if needed. So the first thing I want to go over is this introduction page. And as you can see, I've made a couple of different edits to this over time, but it won't let me take it back into Word for free. So I've made a couple of different edits there, but please note that's why it looks funky. So we're doing this project because brokers have made millions and they lose millions on Wall Street based on their ability to identify what are good, successful stock corporations that you would want to put your money into and which ones are doing poorly and would make a poor choice for an investment. So you're going to be taking on the role of a stockbroker to research different corporations, decide which ones are going to be successful for you and the money that you're investing, and you're going to track the progress of them over a period of time. For this project, it is 4 weeks. So it's going to give you an opportunity to fictitiously invest $10,000 into corporate stocks. So during this project, you're going to be asked to identify any changes that are going on in the market, what those changes might be, why there are changes, and to analyze the outcomes of what your investment has done. So in order to be able to accomplish all of that, you need to choose 4 corporations of your choice to track their performance, and you're going to draw conclusions based on what they have done, what you have learned, what did well, what did poorly, and why. You're looking at the reasoning behind it all. So you have to choose 4 stocks of your choice, but you can choose up to 10 stocks. Based on how much you really want to diversify your investment. So if you really think that choosing more stocks would make you more profit in the end, diversifying and spreading out your risk, please do so. However, it will mean a little bit more work. Each week you'll have to look up 10 stocks prices instead of 4. But it really isn't that bad because you only really have to do the hard work for 4 of the stocks, as in you only have to do detailed research written down on paper with, filling in all the blanks for 4 of them. So if you want to do more, feel free if you think it's going to give you the best outcome. But that's kind of like the limitations within what I want you to do for that. So I've provided a list of companies in an attachment to the stock market project email I'm sending out, and that list allows you to choose companies if you can't think of one off the top of your head, but I highly encourage you to use companies that you have fallen in love with, companies that you really you back, that you would put your money behind. Oftentimes those are the successful ones. However, this particular year here in 2020, you please keep in mind that with the coronavirus, you're going to need to be a little bit more choosier than if it was any other year, based on the fact that unnecessary items and purchases and the companies that provide things that are not a necessity won't be doing as well as those who have necessary products, such as a grocery store versus a Nike stock. So I want you guys to keep that in the back of your mind as you're choosing these. Even if they are your favorite companies, they might not be the wisest choice based on that current information. So the final project is something where you're gathering all kinds of information and you're putting it in one spot, and you're putting it into a portfolio. You're putting your opinion in there in the form of some essays, and you will be putting on a performance via a final project presentation. So make sure you follow all these instructions in here. It is a required project. Please ensure this is turned in on time, as the 10% late deduction is taken off on this project as well. So if you have any questions at all, I really want you guys to reach out and call me, especially since this one will be this is a pretty involved project to do all online, and I want to make sure that you guys have the resources and that you need to make sure that you can be successful, even though we aren't meeting in person. So the due date for this project is May 5th, and I want to make sure you guys note that on this page it shows the wrong date. I made this a while ago, and it doesn't let me edit it anymore. However, there is like this note thing in here that I can edit to show you the real date. So when you click on that, if I can get it to work, jeez. I don't know how you're ever going to see this. But anyway, it shows that it's due May 5th, not November 21st. So obviously it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So, now keep in mind, when I say that the whole project is due on May 5th, the first part of the project I'm calling part 1. And it is, I want to see, because this is all online, I want to see the pages 3 through 9 completed, and I'll show you what 3 through 9 is. And I want those set of pages sent to me so that I can review what you've put in there, and so that you can be successful on your next part of your project. So if you don't have that basis down and good, then the rest of it won't be completed properly. And so I just want to review it and make sure that everything is looking good, and that each of these pages make sense to you. So this is the third page. So this is page 1, this would be page 2, and this is page 3. So it's called Stock Market Project Corporation Research Worksheet. So there are 2 sets of these worksheets in order for you to be able to complete research on all 4 stocks. This first page says stock number 1 and number 4 only because the next set of research worksheets are for stock 2 and 3. So it's a total of 4. So keep that in mind. This is set 1, still continuing down to the second page, and this is the next set of stocks. So this is stock number 2, and stock number 3, which are its own set. So the following page continues the same stock 2 and 3. So there's 2 sets of research that you're doing for the same stock. So this is page 1 for the same stock. This is, page 2 of this same stock's research. It just is continued on to the next page, and you have 2 sets of those. So I hope that's clear. But I want to make that, I want to point that out, that it's not set up. I took this project from another econ teacher, a high school, public school teacher, and it is not my own. I'm making it my own, and so it's a little bit harder to work with because I didn't do this from scratch. So, but I hope you can bear with that whole thing and note that there are 2, there's going to be some funky stuff like that happen. But you can kind of see here at the top, this says corporation name. Look for that on the next set. This says 52-week high. And which is, this says 52-week high for stock 4 and 1. So just look at the labels on the top. This is the next set. The next set has 2 and 3 with corporation name, and it's continued on to the 4th page. So I'm going to go through each of these and where you can find them online. So say you finally decided you had a favorite stock, you think it's going to be good, so you really want to research it based on what you found and to see if it's good enough. And if it's not good enough, you don't have to choose it for your final project, but you have to at least research 4 of them. So if your 5th and 6th one end up being the ones that you choose, those don't have to be the ones that you do all this work for. So keep that in mind. I've had many a student research the ones but not actually choose them in the end because they didn't end up being good enough stocks to work with. So this up here says directions. Use finance.yahoo.com to complete the following charts for your. This says 3 corporations. I'm asking for 4, which is why I edited this to show stock number 4. And this is worksheet I labeled number 1, and this is the worksheet labeled number 2. So, to start this off, this is worksheet number 1, and we're going to start with this one, corporation name. Just for kicks and giggles, I chose Under Armour. So I'm going to go to this finance.yahoo.com to show you how to find this information. Stock symbol, stock exchange, CEO management, corporate headquarters address, products and services summarized. We'll start with those couple of things, and you'll get the idea of where to find each of these things. So I'm not going to go through every one of them, but just to give you an idea of where to find them, how to get there, what to search. Keep in mind, stocks are looked up by their ticker symbol. So it is an abbreviated 4, 5, 6 letter, combination of letters that make up their New York Stock Exchange stock symbol. So make sure that you are using that to look up your stocks each week. It's easier that way. A lot of companies prefer that method anyway. So I'm going to see if I can find where I looked up. Here we go. Okay, so this is finance.yahoo.com, and the home page looks like to go back a couple. I clicked around in there a lot. Looks like this, and you would put it up here, Under Armour. And there's lots of different options that are here. I think most likely you're gonna always want to choose the first one. And there might be, different symbols because they've put out more than one stock option, or it might be in Mexico, or it might be a different trading company. But I would say use the first one if you're wondering which one to choose. And you see lots for the same exact name of the company. Different assets of Under Armour might be controlled by different companies. So it's just try to figure that out based on what you find on this next page. So what you're seeing here is all the nitty-gritty details for each stock. This one in particular is pretty well laid out for you. This is what the page will look like, and what you're looking for is all of these tabs right along here. They're in blue, and there's a blue box that goes around each one of these. As you click on it, that's how you know you'll go to each one of these to look up all of that data and be able to fill out your project with that. So here's what we're working with. The summary page has a lot of the information that you're looking for. But first of all, let's go up here. It says Under Armour Inc. UA. This says New York Stock Exchange, NYSE. That is the publicly traded stock exchange that this Under Armour is being traded on. So this is the current price that each stock is currently at, and this is how much it went up and down in that day by the close of the business day, and this is what has happened like after hours, this right here, please ignore. You don't want to be using after hour stock exchange pricing. You want to be using what happened at what happened currently or at the close. So I'm doing this after 5 p.m. so that's why you're seeing two different rates. So you might not see both if you're looking at this screen during the day. So the first thing I wanted to show you is the previously closed price. So I can tell you that between yesterday and today, this went up a smidge. It went from 8.32 to 8.41. It opened at 8.25 today, and it's now 8.41, so it means that it also went up by a little bit. Today's range went from 7.92 to 8.49 in a single day. Over the last 52 weeks, its lowest point, its lowest price per stock was 6.79, and its highest price was $24.55. That's quite a range, and what that tells you is that this 8.41 is at the lower end of this range. What they tell you in stocks is that you buy when the price is low and you sell when the price is high to make the most profit. So you do want to buy low, but you always have to consider, do I think that this stock is going to go up in the next 4 weeks, even though it's at a low, or not? Because a lot of students have chosen stocks that have, buy low to be able to sell high. And that doesn't always work out because there's only 4 weeks to work. And now if you had a couple, a year or two or something and you are buying stocks currently that, you had a long-term chance of turning around, then maybe that would make sense. But when it's an unnecessary item like Under Armour, I would say your best bet might not be to choose this one if you don't think it's going to go up that much in the next 4 weeks, since it's an unnecessary household personal item. So there's a lot going on this page. So I wouldn't, get too sucked in, but I do know that these next tabs will be pretty helpful. This chart is a very good visual of what happens. Let me see if I can scroll down some. What happens over the course of the year. So down here you can see 2020, and just in February. So 1 month ago, the stock was up really, up in a nice, almost to that highest high. Back in December, January, it did pretty good. However, if you compare this to this down here where we are right now, you'll see a drastic difference. And that hit us in February, and hasn't recovered since. So what that shows is that, and this is my personal opinion, but I believe that this whole dip and continue to dip graph is because of the coronavirus and the effect that it's having on this particular company. So let's go to historical data. What this is showing you is each day's high and low, so you can kind of get an idea of what this is doing for the last couple days. It shows you can change the range to the last month, which is probably what you kind of want to do for this project, since it's just a month worth of data that you're looking for. Their profile, and it has a lot of the information you're looking for on there. It has their address, it has the founder and CEO currently, what they're being paid. It even has the year they're born, so you know how old they are. But their CEO, CFO, CPO, all right there. It shows you their location, Baltimore, Maryland. Let's see. The next thing we want to look at is financials. This tells you how much revenue they made and when they made that revenue. Their gross profit is on this row. Net income is down here, and so on and so forth. So you'll need this specific data to fill out your page. Let's go back to that real quick. Stock symbol was UA, and corporation name was Under Armour. Stock exchange was New York Stock Exchange. CEO was on that informational page just showed you, along with their address. You summarize what this company does, especially if you're choosing a random one. You'll want to know what that was. But all of these notes right here, it says look under profile, competitors. That is all a guide on here to give you this profile right here. It is made that whole column and those notes were made based on Yahoo, finance.yahoo.com. So this should give you a good idea here of all the info you're going to need to know. So this is description and things. So use as much of this as you can when you're doing your project and following these notes as you go. Going on to the next page, we saw the 52-week high and 52-week low on there. The current selling price we talked about. Dividend is underneath that summary tab. So just take a look around. It's all there. If you really can't find something, reach out. I can help you find it if you need to. So you'll need to do that for each of your 4 stocks. So that is the last. So that is 4 pages worth right there. Are just in your research. So that gets you page 3, 4, 5, and 6. So now we're on to page 7. Page 7 is your stock purchase report. So after you have figured out everything that you need to know for your research, the next thing you need to do is this stock purchase report. So feel free to come back to this this point in time on the video when you're ready for that, because it might be a lot later than it is, than you need it currently. So feel free to pause or come back. But the next part of this project is one of the most important parts in my mind, because this is what determines, if you invested the right amount and if you are tracking the right data. And if you're showing this will determine if you're showing a profit or not. So you need to make sure that you're using the right numbers and working, using a little bit of algebra to figure out how many stocks do I need to purchase at what price to get to a total of $10,000 investment, because some of your $10,000 is being used in this right here in this 1.05 fee as a stock broker fee. So not all of your 10,000 will you be able to invest. A little bit of that goes to the broker fee. So you can't totally use that to as your go-to. So you kind of have to work backwards a little bit. You can kind of get an idea. So I would highly recommend using pencil and before you can figure out just how many you want to buy of each stock. So you put the purchase price in here. So for this example, it would be $8.41. $8.41 per price, or per stock, per 1 unit of stock. So I would put Under Armour up here with UA. I would put 8.41. Let's just say, I can buy 100 of these because they're so cheap, and I would do $8 times 100, shares. It's getting me, 800 some dollars, and I have to multiply that by 1.05 to get me the total cost of my stock. Now, I do that for each and every one of these, and I might have to change the number of stocks or number of shares that I purchased in that stock to be able to get a total here that allows me to total up down here to the right amount. Now, keep in mind, this page has 1, 2, 3 stocks on it. You need 4. So there is a 4th page to be able to record the 4th one that you at least have to choose, and then some. You can do your 5th and 6th down there too. So in the end, you need to put a grand total on one of those 2 pages. So that you need to get as close as you can to $10,000. A lot of people haven't won this project or haven't, made a profit just because they didn't invest all their money that they could have, and have done worse than others because others have invested the whole amount. So please remember to use all $10,000 of your fictitious money. So if you have any questions on this, I think this might be the hardest part. It might be the most complicated. It might be the most mathy. And so please do your best, and I would love to, get on a phone call and help you work backwards, and or use your parents to be able to successfully, use all your money. So this one is sideways, and for some reason I don't have the ability to, let's see, rotate view. Let's see if I can do it. Yep, I do have the ability to rotate that view. So this is the last thing that you need to do to complete this part 1 of your stock market project. So this is the last page for stock for that part 1. So this is page 9, and this is what you'll be doing. You'll be completing every week. So I'm just looking for the first week's worth of data in here. So what you're going to do is you're going to put the date, which would be next Monday's date of April 6th. And I hope that everybody can just, every Monday, it's the day before your class, you look at your stock prices so that on Tuesday, you can just email me them. It'll be nice and simple. However, I know that it doesn't always work out that perfectly. If you pick a different day, just note it on here. So I can go back and confirm what the stock price was on that date so that, I don't have, individuals just writing random things on random dates. This is something that allows me to verify it. The next thing is these are in columns. So each stock will be, that you choose will be going down from here. So each week it will be, $1, $1.05, $1.06, $7, $8, $9, and on the 4th week you'll have filled it up. So we're not going through all 6 weeks, we're just doing 4. Right here is what you'll fill it up to. Each of the 4 weeks you'll enter in your stuff on one line, and then the following week you'll enter in the stuff on this line, and the following this line. Now, another thing is this only allows you to do 3 stocks. So the second page is to fill out, or the following page from this is to allow you to put the 4th stock's information in for each week. So that is what this next page is for. Now, in addition to completing this every week, it will be important to follow this note up here and complete the Excel spreadsheet each week. So attached to the email instructions I'm sending you is a spreadsheet in Excel that is basically this same thing, except it asks for further questions, like how much did it change from last week to this week? Did it go up or down? And so that you are making a conscious note that my stock did go up, my stock did go down, this is how much it went up, this is what percentage it went down, so that you are getting a very good concept of what's really happening. So that is where the first the part one of this that's due next week will be. So you can end this video right now if you so choose. However, I'm going to continue on explaining the rest of the project here in this one video, so it's all in one place. So once you are ready for the next steps, please tune back in onto this video to listen to all the other parts of this project and what they entail, not just part one. So the rest of this will be due at the end of the year. Everything that I've spoke of prior to now is something that is due as a part one. So I'm going to continue on here to the next page of the project. That is just the continued on, so you can do the 4 stock. So the next real thing here, rotate this back around, is the stock sale report. Sale is when you sell your stock. So somebody else wants to buy your stock for what you're selling it for. What you're going to do is use the last closing price listed in week 4 of your weekly stock progress that I just showed you how to fill out, and you'll put that selling price right here, because that's the last known price that you were able to check it on. And don't forget to put the name of the stock you're talking about. So your selling price, how many shares you're selling, which are all of them, just so that for the point and purpose of this, it's you're selling all of them so that you can get an idea of how much you gained and lost over that 4-week period of time. So selling price of how much it was, and then number of shares that you purchase is the number of sales that you will be selling, and what that total is. So you're doing that for each of your 4 stocks, and this only has a spot for 3 of them, so then you have a 4th page to put your 4th. So at the end of this section, pick one of these, total of the 2 pages, pick one of these total stock values, and you're going to put all, like 1, 2, 3, and 4 of the total value of your stock. So you're adding up this for all 4 stocks, putting that amount right here. Then you're going back to your stock purchase report, which is where you showed which stocks you were going to purchase, which is this one. All total spent on all stock purchase. So that total right there, you are taking that number of how much it cost you to purchase them, how much you spent to buy them, and you're putting that right here. So what's happening is you're putting the current value of your stocks and what you spent on them, so that you can subtract the 2 to determine whether or not you gained money over those 4 weeks or you lost money on those 4 weeks. This will be the biggest thing that you're going to be going off of. So ensure that you use the right numbers here and the right numbers here and the right numbers here. Because if you are using the wrong numbers here, your essay will be could be incorrect, your Excel spreadsheet might be incorrect, everything trickles down from there. So make sure that this is right. Have your parent look over it. Have me look over it. I'd be happy to. So just double check that all that looks right. And make sure you're using the 4th week selling price so that this all makes sense. Because you really want to get an accurate gain or loss right there. That determines whether or not how you'd write your essays and everything. So it's a key factor there. So this is a continuation of the sell report, because there's 4 stocks. There's only 3 on one page. The 4th goes on the other. You see a lot of that. This project. Okay, so once you have your gain or loss, the project continues on and to this line graph. And what you're doing on this line graph is you're putting 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks and the price. So say you have some stocks that are worth $1 and some stocks are worth 100. You'll make sure that each of these units are enough that you can get up from that lowest low to that highest high, and you will track all four at least. And I say 4 is because that's the minimum. And I keep saying that through all of this, but it's because 4 is the minimum. You feel free to choose more, but I keep saying that because I want you guys to know that that is the minimum. As up here I have put or more because of that. So but this 3 is wrong. It is 4, so keep that in mind. Okay, so the price goes along here, weeks go along here, and so all 4 at least stocks are going to be tracked on here. So some lines might be super jagged, some might not change at all. It could be here from here and here to here, and it goes back and forth, but it doesn't really change much. But either way, you're writing this line graph so that you can see how drastically your stocks have changed over time, as a visual illustration for what your stocks have done. So one thing that I want to ensure everybody sees and knows and has is that I will be grading you strictly on this portfolio checklist. If you don't have the stuff in here, then you won't get the points for it. So please, if anything that you listen to me for this page alone. All of these things must be completed. You want to pay attention to the details. You want to make sure that every little thing is checked off of here. Have your parents go over this checklist and make sure that all of these things are checked, because if you don't have your name on it, if you don't have a title page, or if it's not if you didn't do the research on your companies, or chose not to do a certain essay, or forgot about it, or didn't notice, make sure that you're checking each individual thing off here. So starting with the portfolio organization, I'm looking for pages to be numbered and complete, and you have a table of contents so I know where to find each item. There's nothing worse than getting a portfolio even emailed to me, all scanned in the wrong order, handed in a binder in the wrong way, and so I have to go digging and searching and finding. If you could organize it in the way that these items are listed here on this checklist, then it makes it easy for me and it makes it easy for you, and you'll get points for that organization. Wanted to make note that there are essays required. This one is what to consider before you invest. I'm looking for a 1-page short answer kind of essay. Nothing crazy elaborate, but enough that you can answer all of these questions in there. And the more insightful you can be, the more points you'll get for that. Especially since this is 20 points of the project. Keep in mind, focus especially on the ones that are worth a lot of points. That's there for your benefit so that you know what to focus on. The purchase of stocks requires another essay, not just completing the worksheet, but writing an essay that goes behind why you chose them. This next section worth 10 points is tracking your companies, and that's the weekly analysis, weekly putting down how much your stock has changed to, and will require you emailing that to me each week, signing off, verifying it, and you putting the information into that Excel spreadsheet to be able to get a good analysis of it. That's probably the easiest part of this project, is just tracking them, because there's not much to do in the middle, but there's a lot to do at the beginning and ending of this project. So that's probably the easiest part, is tracking your companies. So on to the next one. At some point in this project, you're going to have to write an essay of a news article that you found regarding one of your corporations that you chose to purchase. You need to summarize that article and how it impacts your stock's performance. Like what happened in the news with that particular company. And How did that news of what happened impact your stock's performance? I scrolled way too far. So the next one is overall summary. So the stock sale report in the line graph I just showed you would need done, but as well as an essay of summarizing how well it did. How much did you make or lose? How much did it compare to the... I'm not going to make you do how did it compare to the Dow Jones Industrial Average, because I'm only going to have you track on whatever it's being sold on, so which is normally New York Stock Exchange is what I'm looking for there. So this is a lot of extra work that I don't want you student staff to do, but I do want to have you answer how much did you make or lose, why do you think you did that, how would you invest differently next time, and I would make this as beefy and as full of an essay as possible. Make this your longest one, and probably this one the next longest one. They're 20 points and 15 points, and this is fully just an essay. So make sure that you're really thinking about what you learned, what you enjoyed, what you would do differently next time. How could you be more successful, or did you feel like you did the best that you possibly could have, and why and how? What did you was it the data you looked up? Was it the news articles you found? So that's what I'm looking for. Make sure make sure you are crossing each of these off as you go, because I will be looking for these answers within your essays. So to wrap it up here, this is the grade sheet I will be putting each of your points on. I'll be writing notes on here on what you did well and poorly on. This allows me also to, as a way of doing a checklist for you. It's the same thing as before, but is a little less on what points are there and more helpful for you. I think it has it's a little less wordy and a little more organized. So, but it's about the same thing as this page right here. So, that wraps up my instructions for this project. I'm sorry it was so lengthy, but I did want to make sure that I didn't leave anybody hanging, and that you have everything at your fingertips that you would need to be successful in this project. So I wish you guys good luck on this, and I hope you guys are all doing well. I'll see you probably tomorrow. Okay, goodbye.